Hi, so I am Alex and I am the other half of the twin set with Kirsten, and so I'm just going to answer some of Sophia's questions and let's just dive right in. The first one is being a twin limiting or restricting, or does it give you lots of freedom? Why or why not? I personally think neither. I don't think it's limiting or restricting whatsoever. I think there's a lot of benefits. Um, and I know this sounds weird, but like you're noticed more and you don't have to work as hard because in school you were always the twin, which has its downsides. I'm sure she asked a question in here later about that. But I don't think it's limiting or restricting besides sometimes the way other people profile you, but I still had the same opportunities as everybody else. And I just don't think like freedom is the right word to say that it gives you freedom. I just think it's normal because that's what I've always had. What really sets you apart from the other? I think personality wise, we're very different. Even probably listening to her recording is just shows you how different we are. Um, she's much more. I want to say this. I'm a little bit more. I don't know if serious is the right word, but maybe serious. Just I'm not as like fluffy as she is. Like I would say we're both as equally warm, but we just show it in different ways. She really likes to show people things by like recurring affirmations, and she's just very, very like giving and reassuring. She's just a very reassuring person, and I'm probably more like I use stuff like that sparingly, but I mean it when I say something new because I only say it ever so often. So definitely personality wise, she probably seems she's a little more outgoing. I'm a little more introverted. Um yeah, that's probably that. Um Physically, how do you explain your differences to others? I would say Kirsten definitely has a more square face than I do. Mine's a little longer, looks kind of round in this frame, but I think it's a little longer than hers. And her hair's a little shorter, a little blonder. She's a little tanner. She'll love to tell you that, but she's tanner than I am for sure. What are your friend groups like? Well, we've never really shared the same friend group since we were like in middle school. So since high school on, we kind of went our separate ways. Um, Nothing crazy. They just never meshed. So that's okay. Um, does it get annoying when people ask if you are a twin? Why? Uh, no, actually. I think it's the stuff that comes afterward that gets annoying. Like if someone says, "Oh, are you a twin?" I'm like, "Heck yeah! Like it's awesome, right?" And I'll do the same thing to other twins, because I think it's cool because I'm a twin. I don't know if they're twins, so I can talk about it with them. Uh, but when people ask me, if they see us and they're like, "Oh, are you guys twins?" That doesn't bother me at all. But it's the stuff like the stupid cliches and stuff like that that gets old for sure. Are people able to tell you apart? This is kind of hard because we haven't really been seen much together since we went to college a year and a half ago. For the most part, it's hard because if they get to know us, absolutely they can tell us apart. And they say, "I can't believe people even think you look alike at all." But if you don't know us, or if you don't know somebody, if we have a twin and then you see the other one, you probably wouldn't know because you're just not expecting that. I mean, how many people expect that somebody else has a twin? Well, before you just assume. And I'm sure in college, so many people assume that, like, I don't have a twin. But if Kirsten were to just show up, they would think she was me because they wouldn't know. And, that has happened to me when I visited her last year at her dorm. I would go to the bathroom and she'd be in her dorm, and people would talk to me as if I was Kirsten because they had no idea that she had a twin. So, I mean, they wouldn't assume otherwise. But if you don't know us, it's hard to tell us apart. Although I personally don't think we look alike, but it is hard to tell us apart. And but then again, you get both sides. Some people like don't even ask you for twins. Some people are like, "Oh, Kirsten, you look so much like somebody I know," or they don't know her. It's just a stranger. Um, but no one ever says that to me. So I guess it kind of just depends on the person. When you meet someone new, do you mention that you're a twin? No, actually. I don't like to use that because I think of it as like a crutch. So when people, it's like, oh, say one cool thing about yourself. I don't like to say I'm a twin because nobody else gets to use that, and I want something that's cool because of me, not because of. I think being a twin is so cool, but I want something that sets me personally apart, not somebody, you know. And then like at my college, nobody knows I'm a twin. I remember last year I did a speech, an informative speech on identical twins and just like the misconceptions, and people were just blown away when they saw the picture of us too because nobody knows. How has that changed since going to college? I just answered that. How has college made you closer or are you more distant? I feel like it's the same. We definitely don't talk as much like physically, but we're texting all the time, we're Snapchatting, obviously. And so I really feel like it's pretty much the same, just less like actual physical contact between seeing each other and like talking with words on the phone. We just don't talk that much. When you guys meet someone new together, what is the situation like? Usually people are kind of like weirded out or like, oh my gosh, wow, you guys look a lot alike, or they'll say, are you guys twins? And we'll say yeah at the same time, and then we'll all laugh at the same time, and then we'll give the same answers at the same time. So that always freaks people out. But it's just because we've been asked that so many times that it happens. What are your favorite memories as twins? This is a hard one. Probably just when people like recognize it as, I don't know. It's really nice having someone that you grew up with, and that bond is really special, and it's just and the reason why I think twins are so close, it's not because, obviously you're very similar because you literally have the same DNA, but I don't think that's what makes you so close. I think it's because you experience things together at the same time. So it's just like any other sibling, except for the fact that they're literally almost at the same stage as you, especially in your younger years of life. And so it was really fun growing up with a twin, and now I feel like I lose it a lot because I am so individual in college and nobody even knows. But that's probably for the best. Is twin telepathy a thing, or do you know each other so well? I hate that question. I hate that if I punch her, will it hurt you too? When you look in a mirror, do you feel like you're seeing the other person? Like, no, I don't. And again, there's nothing different. They're just your sibling who has the same DNA, but environmentally, everything is different. There's no abnormal connection besides the fact that you just share experiences. It could be that way with anyone in your life. It could be a best friend who you just, obviously we live in the same house, you're a little closer, but when you share those experiences, that's what makes you close, and that's how you know each other so well. But fun fact, Kirsten and I, when people ask if we have twin telepathy, we pretend, and we have like made up words that we've already thought about. Like pie is our first one, and I think taco was the second one, but I'm not sure. She'd probably know. But people ask like, what are you thinking of? And I'm like, oh, she's thinking of pie. And then Kirsten's like, yeah, how'd you know? And it's like, okay. Are you able to pass off as each other? Has there ever been a time when you trick someone into believing you're the other one? Yes. Over the phone, we've done that a few times with my parents. It's kind of funny. Over the phone, it's really hard. Even though I do think our voices are different too. I think my voice is a little bit lower. But we've done that for sure. In person, the only time we really should have taken advantage of this in elementary school when it wasn't such a big deal. But we didn't. We waited till high school and we were in the same class. And we switched spots, and the entire time the students were like super giggly because they knew right away. They thought it was hilarious. But the teacher never noticed, so it's kind of disappointing. How do you think life would be different if you weren't a twin? I think life would be very different. This isn't bad or good, but I definitely think I would have more friends, just because I would have to. And because of the fact that she wasn't always there for me, but then again, I view her as a friend, so I don't feel like I'm losing out by any means. But I just think I would have, different and more friends. I also think I probably wouldn't be as sensitive to twins, and like I've gotten a lot of hurtful comments over the years, like when people mix this up, they're like, oh, it doesn't matter, they're the same person anyway, or it's just double. And that's like the most frustrating thing. And I try to like kind of tell myself like, hey, they don't know what it's like to be a twin. They don't realize that you're literally just two people who happen to be born at the same time. Like it doesn't make you different at all. Besides, there's someone who happens to look a little bit more like you who grew up with you. But then people, that's just the association, and that's how you kind of get pegged. So I know I wouldn't have that, but then who's to say like there are the good sides of that, because there are the times when I'm kind of a more shy, timid person, and who's to say people would have even known my name. And that sounds really bad and really vain, but that's really not how I mean it. I just mean that like there's just a unique quality about you that people know about that happens. You don't have to work as hard to introduce yourself to people, because like they know your name. But yeah, so the hurtful comments wouldn't have been there, but then maybe I would have been a little more insensitive to twins. I would hope not, but I've gotten some really rude comments over the years. They just make you feel like less of a person. They make you feel like half of a person, and you're not, So, anyway, and I just feel like I don't know if I would have found somebody who knows me as well and cares for me as unconditionally. Like there are some good people out there who are friends, but it would have been hard to make a friend as good as a twin would be. How do you handle your arguments and reconcile? We've had a lot of arguments over the years. We try to talk it through. Sometimes we just have to take our time, and at the end of the day, you just kind of have to give up and say you're sorry. Just kind of like any other argument with anyone else. How well do you actually know your sister? Pretty well, I would say. She relies heavily. Her family is her home base, and obviously me being a part of that, I would say I know her very well. But there are probably stuff that I don't know that would surprise me, but I feel like I know pretty well. Tell me what the other strengths are. How has that translated into your relationship? Kirsten is a very generous, giving person. She's always thinking about others. She's also, she's very kind, and she doesn't get mad a lot. So that's really nice, because, unless she's had a bad day or in a bad mood, she's not going to get upset with you. And she's very generous. She's always asking how you are. So that's always a great thing to have a relationship. And she listens a lot too. So you just know that you have someone who will listen to you. And I think that makes it easy for us to be good friends and get to know each other, because that's really good qualities that a friend would have. So, and then what is your relationship like when one of you is in a romantic relationship? This one is sort of hard for me to answer, because I have been in a romantic relationship for 6 years. So it's been a while since before then that I wasn't. I don't think it's changed all that much. Obviously, I spent a lot of time with my boyfriend. But he's kind of part of the family now, and so it's just like a big dynamic with all three of us, and we all hang out. He has confused us only once. It was like 2.5, 3 years ago. I'll never forget it, but he did. And then a couple times like on the phone or over Skype, but in person once he accidentally went up to her and put his hands on her shoulders, and I was just standing there watching. So yeah, but I would say it's not that different, and it's nice because I always have somebody who will listen to me about relationship grumbles and stuff, and when that happens to her, I'm sure I'll do the same. So I think that's all of the questions. Thank you for listening.